By Skyrim's design, the major cities and their citizens in Whiterun, Solitude, Markarth, Riften and Windhelm are scaled down, resulting to be smaller in size compared to other games, such as The Witcher 3. This has never been a problem to me because this allows the NPCs to be unique and to be able to converse with most of them. Although I don't mind the sparsity of NPCs, I do think the outskirts of major cities could be a little bit busier, and that's what I'm fixing and showcasing today with the lore-friendly JK's Outskirts mods, plus one another mod. First, we must address the city of all cities, the lovely Whiterun, which of course has all of our Skyrim players' hearts. Outside the city gates, there are just a couple of small farms and the stables, definitely not giving the feeling of a major commercial hub the city is supposed to be. With JK's Whiterun Outskirts, the area outside Whiterun is majorly expanded with new buildings, NPCs, walls and watchtowers, and on top of that, the White Watchtower and the already existing farms are overhauled. Whiterun was pretty safe before, but for being the major trade city, the security of the city is now greatly enhanced. There is a new city gate, building up Whiterun's fortifications in the north, and the expanded White Watchtower keeps the unwanted out of the city limits. The details of the overhaul are natural and don't feel like an afterthought. For example, look at these hanging horns on the watchtowers, ready for the guards to use, or for me to use. It just simply makes sense. Another detail I must highlight, and this is important guys, are these outhouses or latrines? I just learned this word, by the way, latrine. Honestly, they are important. What's immersion without outhouses for the guards and the farm workers to use? Let's take a look at the added buildings. First, we have a multi-story inn called the Dancing Horse. In this atmospheric tavern, you can rent a room for the night or grab something to eat if you're stopping by the tundra and have no business in the city itself. In the inn, there is also a cellar for storing all the wine, ale and food. You can also sit by the beer garden watching the hustle and bustle of the city. Another added building is the carpenter's shop, August Workshop, which is of course absolutely lovely with all the detailing and fits perfectly into the world of Skyrim. Kind of baffling how I never thought about there not being a woodworker anywhere when lumber is a big industry in the province. At Chilfuro Farm, there are now apple trees growing on their property, which makes sense as there are always apples available in every inn and store of Skyrim, as well as jaspi grapes and tomatoes. Now, with JK's Whiterun Outskirts, the area around Whiterun feels realistic. The farms are larger, the added buildings simply make sense and enhance the immersion in the city outskirts, and the environmental details are top-notch. Now let's move to the far west, where the ancient dwarven-built city of Markarth is located. For me, this location has always been one of the most impressive among the cities of Skyrim, but now I'm so excited to enhance it even further. The newest mod in the series of JK's Outskirts overhauls is JK's Markarth Outskirts. This one extends the city's reach, see what I did there, for across the original city boundaries, defending the farmsteads and important mining industry with sturdy stone walls. When you get closer to the city gates, the outskirts start to resemble more of the design of the inner city of Markarth itself. All these familiar stone pathways and stairs surround the main street, making defending the city easy from the high ground. The many added watchtowers are equipped with these dwarven crossbows, which is convenient for defending the city from any outside intruders. As they say, the safest city in the Reach, and also the only one. I found it to be ridiculously easy to get lost in here, just like in the inner city itself, which is basically a maze, so hard to navigate in. But the good thing is that as you get lost, you will find beautiful landscape spots to sit and watch the world in. All of these added ruins really sell the city of Markarth to me. It's supposed to be this enormous city built through the crag, and JK's Markarth Outskirts make it believable. The mod results in a busy, believable and immersive Markarth experience, and for myself, is now absolutely an essential mod going forward. Another ancient city of the province, Windhelm, the City of Kings, is located in the northeast by the freezing Sea of Ghosts. It is the oldest settlement that has been continuously populated by humans in Tamriel and serves as the home of the Stormcloak Rebellion in Skyrim. JK's Windhelm Outskirts keeps the tradition alive by adding believable stone monuments near the city gates, adding on to the impression of the important age-old settlement. The bridge connecting the city over the White River looks a bit more magnificent too, with the stone arches over it, welcoming you to the city. Unless you're not a Nord, I guess. The famous Talos shrine overlooking Windhelm has gotten a bit of a facelift as well, making it stand out a bit more. The mod doesn't touch the port, but it adds a couple of smaller fishing docks and boats by the river, and there is a game locker if I'm correct, a horker hanging in this shack, preserving it in the cold. All this makes the occupation of fishing and hunting visible, and makes it feel less like the food just magically appears in the taverns and plates of the townspeople. The region is cold, so an added shelter for stored firewood is important for the farms and stables to have. And speaking of the 3 farms, now I feel like they all have their own identity, or at least the identity is made clear. Holyfrost Farm focuses on lumber and cattle, Hlalu Farm has chicken and wheat, and Brandymug Farm has a bit of both, plus Snowberry. Bolfrida, where are your shoes? I tell ya, northern women are different. There's not much decoration for the sake of decoration, aside from the various different skulls. The blazed clutter is all about convenience and everyday items such as these traps or any other necessities you see around. This detailing makes it feel like the farms are surviving just fine, but there's no space for lavish items or showing off, just humble farmers on their day-to-day activities. The famous city of Riften is located right at the eastern shore of Lake Honrik. The wooden buildings and docks reflect the environment surrounding the city, the beautiful fall forest of the Rifthold. JK's Riften Outskirts achieves some of the same things that the earlier overhauls did. It makes the city's outskirts feel more lively, easing the transition between a major hold capital and the wilderness. As you can see, compared to the earlier overhauls, Riften's outskirts are smaller in scale. In addition to being minimalist, it's also lore-friendly and unintrusive. When we take a closer look at the overhaul, we can see how the stables and the 2 farms are overhauled, adding interesting details around the buildings that don't stick out from the vanilla environment. It feels like the mod adds the much-needed life and personality on the Riften outskirts, with small things that make sense and feel natural in the surroundings, such as the stables or the shelter for the farm animals. There is also now a road connecting the main gate to the southern road, which now looking at it, it is just obvious that it should have been always there. It's all about the small tweaks. Now, the last city we're missing is of course the capital of Skyrim, and if I may add, the home of the Bard's College, Solitude. I don't know if there even are plans to create and release JK's Solitude Outskirts, but until such a thing sees light, there are alternatives. This is Redbag Solitude, and unlike the other overhaul showcased today, this one also changes things inside the city gates on top of the city's surroundings. Redbag Solitude aims to make Solitude the great capital city it's supposed to be, a busy city filled with buildings and people. It adds 20 new houses, 11 inside the city and 9 by the docks. There are now 59 new NPCs living in Solitude, and there are new entrances to the city. The NPCs don't have any special dialogue, but they tell their story through their appearance and attitude. Some of the city walls have been removed to make it easier to see the beautiful view from the rock arch. And I guess, apart from personal safety reasons, I don't think any army has an easy time conquering Solitude, so some of these walls might not be so critically needed anyway. The docks are filled with cabins for the people now, and there's an extra longboat and a windmill. You can climb up these steps through a tunnel to Solitude for a faster way in, which is much needed. Another way in is from the northern side, up the mountain through the castle tower. This overhaul breathes new life into the city, and it's really fun discovering the new streets and corners, and it kind of makes me think of Novigrad from Witcher 3, which I mentioned in the intro. As we near the end of the video, I must add that all of these mods showcased today are not the most performance friendly, and if you have an older CPU like myself, you might experience some frame drops. It is recommended to run Dindalad after installing these mods to be able to see the added buildings and details from far away. Since the beginning of my modding journey, I have adored JK's City Mod series, and I can't wait to try out his interior overhaul mods next, and if such a thing ever sees light, a Solitude Outskirts mod. Let me know how you feel about JK's mods in the comments. If you want to support the channel, the BCG Patreon is open and full of exclusive videos and behind the scenes content. I'm only able to keep creating with your unwavering support, which I'm super grateful for every day. And a special shout out to my Tavern's legendary patrons Star095 and Ryan Ulrich for going the extra mile for supporting my passion of video creation. Thank you for watching! You can find all the mod links in the description box below, as well as a link to my mod list and all the technical details. I do hope you enjoyed watching this video, and if you did, maybe drop a like or even subscribe to the channel. See ya!